internet is blowing up. Welcome back to my show. My name's Mark Nixon. When the Conservatives held their record-shattering rally in Oshawa in an airplane hangar, I wanted to see Pierre Poilievre roll in with his Canada First jetliner. I was very disappointed he didn't do it, but it's been 2 weeks since that rally, and the Conservatives' rally kept on getting bigger and bigger. And today, my vision came true. Pierre Poilievre showed up not in a bus, but his plane for the most iconic and epic rally in Canadian history. As this was happening, the internet literally exploded from all sides. Conservatives seeing this as hope for a better future, and the Liberals see this massive rally as a threat. And that's why the Liberals, in true liberal fashion, have painted this rally as a massive Trump rally. Since when does Canadians coming together for change considered a threat to Canadian sovereignty? They just can't handle change. Today, I'm going to cover this historic Calgary rally and the massive announcements the Conservatives made today. They truly saved the best for last. Let's go. We're going to start things off with this epic entrance. And this is what it looked like when the plane arrived and everyone inside, they opened the doors. It was absolutely incredible. Imagine you were there and seeing this. It gives me goosebumps. And here's a video from the back.
Pierre Poilievre is the only one to bring real change to Canada. So it is my great honor and my great privilege to
I want people to understand that this rally is happening midday on a Friday. People are not off, and they're taking the day off to show up and see Pierre Poilievre at this Calgary rally. Yeah, here he is. Absolutely amazing. I actually had a dream that we would be able to see Pierre Poilievre come out in a jetliner, and here we are today. I was really hoping that he would fill up an arena because I believe he could actually fill an arena up. But this is exactly what I was looking for. And this is what change looks like. Here's another angle. And here are the people that came early so that they could get a seat. Check out, they got a plane inside the airplane hangar. Look how big this thing looks. This is a weekday. People literally had to take the day off to go to this thing. Now, we have some massive news that came out from the Conservatives today. Let's get into it. First, I'm going to show you a clip on how Pierre Poilievre is going to deal with Donald Trump on day one. The Liberals don't have a plan. How do we know that the Liberals don't have a plan? Well, it's based on their track record, of course. After $500 billion, not billion, $500 billion has flooded out of Canada into the United States, because in the United States, they don't have a federal carbon pricing system That's only in Canada. So it's cheaper to do business in the US and then send goods and services back into Canada. And it goes the same for countries like Mexico. In Canada, think about this. In Canada, farmers that grow using a greenhouse, they emit CO2 using natural gas, and they have to pay a massive carbon tax for burning that natural gas. And what happens is that the Mexican grown tomatoes are actually cheaper than the Canadian grown ones. So what they do is they ship them across the continent to be sold in Canada. You can't make any of this stuff up. And what happens is we lose in all directions because Canadian farmers are forced to shut down. Our money gets sent to another country, and we emit even more carbon emissions. It makes zero sense. That is the Liberal logic. As long as there's no carbon emissions in Canada, it's okay if other countries emit, just not in Canada. Let's hear Pierre Poilievre's announcement.
We will obviously call President Trump and tell him that the tariffs are destructive and they should be lifted on day one and a new deal negotiated. But what we will not do is put Canadian taxes, effectively Canadian tariffs, on Canadian industry. That is the exact kind of economic Liberal insanity that got us into this mess over the last 10 years. We will quickly approve major projects like LNG Canada Part 2 to double its production. We will approve pipelines, mines, LNG plants, and we will do it quickly.
There you go, Canada. What he's saying is that we're going to remove all the carbon taxes, including the industrial-based carbon tax, and we are going to rapidly develop our natural resource sector so we can sell it to the world. We're going to be going at Donald Trump with a position of strength. And this is the biggest announcement that Pierre Poilievre made today. And like I said, he saved the best for last. Pierre Poilievre announced that no politician will get a summer holiday until 3 laws are passed: Affordability Act, Safe Streets Act, and Jobs Act. Imagine Mark Carney being forced to actually work to make life more affordable. That is, if Pierre Poilievre wins this election, do you think that Mark Carney will stick around to have these 3 policies kick in? Leave your comment below. Let's check out this announcement.
So I have some good news and bad news. The good news is Canadians can elect a government that will bring change. The bad news for the politicians is your summer vacation is canceled. We are going to keep Parliament open all summer long to pass 3 laws to bring change. 1, the Affordability for a Change Act. 2, the Safe Streets for a Change Act. And 3, the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. And until these laws are passed, Parliament will not shut down for summer vacation. We need change. Change can't wait, but the politicians' vacations will have to wait.
Imagine that. But I don't feel bad for them at all because, to be honest with you, our government hasn't been functioning since October 2nd of last year. They need to work 2 or 3 summers to catch back up all of those wages that we spent on them. But guess what? The Liberals, they don't like working. So this is going to be a slap in the face. They'll have to miss their summer holidays to get all of this approved. Most likely, they're going to get approved real fast so that they could get those summer holidays. Pierre Poilievre promised to get this done within the first 100 days of him taking office. And this next item that Pierre Poilievre announced, and I didn't even know that this was happening. I thought the Liberals would ban all gas-powered vehicles within 10 years, but actually, Mark Carney planned to basically ban it starting next year, so 8 months away. And it wasn't a full ban. What he was going to do is charge a $20,000 tax on all gas vehicles up to a certain amount. So basically, there'd be allowed a percentage of gas vehicles, but anything beyond that would encounter this massive tax. So let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say about that.
Liberal so-called the Liberal fuel standard, which is going to drive up gas prices even more. we will axe the Carney Tax. The Carney Tax, which seeks to raise the price of a car by $20,000 if it is not electric. Carney has said that he wants to ban gas and diesel-powered vehicles in Canada, and that starts next year with a $20,000 Carney tax on every vehicle above a government-set quota that is not electric. Canadians cannot afford to pay a $20,000 Carney tax for the... Now, let me ask you this. If you're a farmer near Lloydminster or Weyburn or Estevan, can you drive around in an electric vehicle in February? No. I got an idea. I think we should invite Mark Carney to go on a road trip through the prairies in his Tesla. What do you think? He can take his Tesla. He can give the money to Tesla as he wants to. By the way, his Carney tax is a subsidy for Tesla. I find the media hasn't noticed that. They're actually, and this is, it's not my saying this is the government's plan. The auto dealerships are going to have to pay a tax for the crime of selling too many gas and diesel-powered vehicles. And that tax will go in credits to electric vehicle companies to subsidize charging stations. One of the biggest recipients will be Tesla. So while conservatives want to axe the GST on Canadian-made automobiles, Mark Carney wants to bring in a new car tax that will take money from Canadian consumers and give it to Tesla subsidies. We cannot afford a fourth Liberal term of this madness.
Can you believe it? I want to hear from the elbows up crowd, because every time they start posting stuff, they say, we don't want Pierre Poilievre, he's Donald Trump. When in fact, it's Mark Carney that is giving subsidies to Elon Musk. You can't make any of this stuff up. A vote for Mark Carney is a vote for Donald Trump. You know, it's interesting because these liberals, everything they say is actually the opposite. Take a look at everything they say and think of it in the opposite way, and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe it. And this next announcement, the Jobs Act, is absolutely massive. If you're a young Canadian, you want to listen up to this, because Pierre Poilievre has a plan to get people working and making money in this country.
The change I will deliver. Third, we will pass the Bring Home Jobs for a Change Act. After the lost Liberal decade where $500 billion of our investment has left for the South, we've had the worst economic growth in the G7, and all of that happened while Mark Carney was the economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. Mr. Carney agrees with every economic policy that Trudeau passed. Other than a small amount of symbolism and cosmetic surgery, the Liberal Party will continue the exact same destructive, anti-growth, costly Liberal policies that they have for the last lost Liberal decade. We will do exactly the opposite. As part of our 100 days of urgent action, we will pass a bill that repeals the No Development Law C-69. We will reverse the tanker ban. We will launch a Canada First reinvestment tax cut, zero capital gains tax when you reinvest the proceeds right here in Canada. Bring the money home for a change. This will be economic rocket fuel for our economy, and the approvals will be fast. We'll have a one-stop shop to approve projects with a shovel-ready zone, a zone where we can effectively approve projects immediately that are actually zoned, regulated, approved, signed off with clear conditions and clear boundaries so that businesses can just get busy building. We're also going to axe the industrial carbon tax. So today, Mark Carney is trying to distract from yesterday's lie by going to a steel plant where he's announcing a bigger industrial carbon tax. He actually said the carbon tax will make Canadian steel better off. So here we go again. Carney agrees with Trump. He wants to tax Canadian industry Carney wants to do it with carbon taxes. Trump wants to do it with tariffs. I want neither. We know that companies like Evraz here in Saskatchewan, any steelworkers here? I know we're not in Regina, but we've got steelworkers across this country that are going to lose their jobs because of the Carney carbon tax on industry. A carbon tax he wants to apply to the fertilizer that grows our food, to the aluminum, to all the other metals we make, to the cement and concrete, and all the industrial products that are literally the backbone of our country. All of the materials that go into building a home will become more expensive because of Carney's industrial carbon tax. You tax the steel, well, all the apartment framing and other inputs are going to be more expensive. The cement that goes into apartment complexes, the manufacturing of other materials will all go up in price, which means the Carney carbon tax will be paid by you. He will drive, this is exactly what the Americans want, by the way. He's going to effectively impose a Canadian tariff on Canadian industry. That's why we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term of Liberal taxes and anti-development policies. We need to pass the Bring Home Our Jobs Act for a change with a new Conservative government.
This is what economic rocket fuel looks like. The Liberals, they only believe in opening up the printing presses for economic growth. And we have learned in the last 10 years that that causes massive inflation. And the Conservatives, what they believe is you create more of the goods that money buys. What a difference. Now, I want to explain, don't worry about the polls because I have some data sets to share with you. And yeah, the Conservatives could win that blue wave. All we need to do is get our Canadian youth to come out and vote. First, I'm going to show you a quick meme. The Liberal government posted a meme and I fixed it. Here's what the Liberals posted. Mark Carney has experience, a plan, and calm. Pierre Poilievre is incompetence, slogan, and chaos. And I fixed it. Mark Carney is more European than Canadian. He holds 2 European passports and only 1 Canadian. He loves control. It's all about controlling everything. And his campaign is based on fear of change. While Pierre Poilievre is Canadian, pure blood, he believes in freedom and he provides Canadians hope. Let's get into how the Conservatives are going to win this election. This is a picture of Bradford Boomer. He's a Liberal and he always votes. You, the youth of this country, you don't show up to vote. Are you going to let him decide your future? And here are the stats from 2021 election where 75 plus was 65% showed up. 65 to 74, 75% of those voters showed up and voted. 55 to 64, nearly 70%. And when we go to the youth, under 34 is 53%. And if you are 18 to 24, it's only 46%. That means the boomers in this country are deciding who wins this election. Unless, and I say unless, our Canadian youth come out and vote. And here is what the numbers look like for the last 4 elections. And as you can see, traditionally, the youth are the ones that are least likely to vote in an election. It's kind of ironic because this is the group that is most affected by the policies and they're going to have to live with it for the rest of their lives. So this is a friendly reminder. If you have any youth in your life, you tell them to go and vote and tell them to bring every single one of their friends. Because if they actually show up, just 15% more of them show up, they literally can change the direction of this country. Let's make it too big to rig. There you have it, Canada. The Conservatives could take over and win this election if our Canadian youth show up and vote. This is the biggest election in Canadian history. On one side, we could have freedom and prosperity and hope. On the other side, well, we already had 10 years of that, so we know where that is going. I'll see you on the next report.